We have another big update to go through, so let's jump right in. In my opinion, we have just been blessed with probably the best feature Hytale is going to have in a very long time. We now have proximity chat. It simply makes every gaming experience just that much better. And the best way for me to show off this new feature is by playing the video that Hytale created themselves.
Look, now your voice will interact with the environment.
Hey, look at me. I'm speaking underwater.
And now we're talking in a cave.
Wow! Now I'm in a big forest. See, it echoes a little bit. And now I'm falling!
There are a couple of visual elements on screen to help identify who is speaking more clearly to you, especially be useful if multiple people were speaking at the same time. Once you are in a game with other players, you can head on over to settings and audio, and at the bottom here will be all of your new options for voice chat. It is off by default, but if we turn it on, we'll have a few new options. You can adjust the volume, your input device, and as such, this is me talking in real time. Push to talk, the toggle, you've got voice activity, which is just an open mic, and you can bind your push to talk here with a noise suppression that can be set to on or off. These settings will not appear if you are playing in single player. The music that you are currently hearing now plays during the night of Zone 1. This is called Traveling Band. The music you're hearing in the background is known as Genesis. It has returned to the game somewhere in Zone 4. I'm unsure of the specific circumstances that can trigger this piece of music, but you might encounter it whilst exploring the wastelands. The sewers and caves found throughout Zone 4 will now have new music. Please note, however, that this is just placeholder music and will probably be changed in the near future. Looping ambient sounds now work on a larger scale, such as that of raindrops on water. If I pause the game, sounds will still be played in the background, they are just now muffled. While it is not easy for me to showcase this, directional audio should now be easier to identify. The Alchemist Workbench now has a couple more tiers. To upgrade to tier 3 you'll need 10 silver, 20 gold, 20 sturdy chitin, or however you pronounce that, and 1 zephyr. You get the health, stamina and energy potion at tier 3. To upgrade to the tier 4 you'll now need 20 silver, 40 gold, 30 shadow weave scraps and 1 sapphire. This will get you the greater health, stamina and energy potion, as well as a couple of seeds. The final upgrade will require 40 silver, 80 gold, 120 cindercloth scraps and 1 ruby. This gets you the final 3 seed packets. It's worth noting that there is no visual change in the upgrades, they will all look the same. The crafting requirements for all of these health, stamina and energy potions have been reworked. Unfortunately, I do not know which ones have actually been changed, so I will just quickly hover all through them and you can pause the video at any time. You can now craft empty, small and large potion bottles at the Alchemist Workbench. For the small it requires an empty potion bottle and you get 2 in return, and for the large potion bottle you need 2 empty potion bottles. In order to grow your blood leaf, your storm sapling and your azure kelp, you will need to use crystal fertilizer bag, which can now be crafted from the Alchemist's Workbench for any 50 shards and 1 void essence. As you can see, these 3 seeds are now crafted from the Alchemist Tier 5 Workbench. All 3 require 1 Void Heart as well as 8 Void Essence. Once you harvest these plants, you can put them into the Salvager's Workbench and get their respective petal. Tier 9 and 10 for the Farmer's Workbench has been removed. Within the Farmer's Workbench, there is a lot more sapling varieties. The Copper Sickle can be unlocked at Tier 4 Farmer's Workbench, requiring 1 copper and 2 tree logs, whilst the Iron Sickle can be unlocked at Tier 5 Farmer's Workbench, requiring 2 iron ingots and any 2 tree logs. Using any coloured cloth on the Builder's Workbench should now work as intended, giving you the outcomes you expect. Any previous rock, wood and metal fall blocks can now be used to craft half slabs and stairs in the Builder's Workbench. All of the blocks that you see on screen, known as the runic blocks, can only be accessed through the creative inventory now for the time being, instead of the builder's workbench. You can turn gold ingots into gold bricks in the builder's workbench. Workbenches will now continue to process even if their chunks are unloaded. So I'm processing some hide here. If I teleport a really far ways away, that chunk should no longer be loaded. Just for extra measure, we'll go even further. We teleport back. We have processed one extra hide. All workbenches now use in-game time calculations instead of real-world time. To showcase this, if I fast forward to noon, that number has gone down drastically because I've technically jumped forward in the game world. This does mean, however, that if you pause time in your world, you'll now get this icon, and no processing benches will continue to work. All workbenches now display a number indicating their crafting queue. All workbenches now display the rarity of the items you can create. Once again, we've got just an outstanding change to the builder's workbench when you craft it. It's now instant instead of 2 seconds. The campfire, crude bedroll, crude torch, and the wooden chest all now have instant craft times as well. We now have an emote wheel. You can access this menu by holding down X by default, which can be changed in your settings. Some emotes have a little symbol next to them, indicating that they will loop. Let's have a look at each emote. We have a couple more hairstyles to show off, starting with the afro and the big afro, frizzy buns, which also has an extra option of adding another bun on top, long dreadlocks, puffy twin dreads, which have a wild look as well as a locks look, dreads fade, which has an option of messy, which adds 2 little bits of hair at the front. And finally, star puffs, which also have an option to include braids. 3 hairstyles have been updated, starting us off with the puffy bubble braids, hair strand option, and a golden bangles option, afro puffs, and puffy bun. The basic sandals is now referred to as the leather sandals. Long sleeve tunic is now referred to as the cotton tunic, and the puffy ponytail is now referred to as the puffy bun. All health potions have been rebalanced. Each potion gives a portion of health instantly, followed by another burst of healing after 5 seconds. The lesser health potions heal you for 15% instantly, followed by another 15% after 5 seconds. The secondary effect is doubled for the small health potion, whilst also increasing its stack size to 10. The health potion follows suit with increased benefits, offering 25% health instantly and another 35% shortly after, and the secondary healing is increased to 50% for the greater health potion, and again doubling the stack size. And finally, the large health potion just simply restores 35% health instantly and another 55% after 5 seconds, with a stack size of 1. All stamina potions are now consumed faster. Here is a comparison with the health potion. The lesser stamina potion instantly restores 30 stamina, the small stamina potion is 45%, the stamina potion is 60%, the greater stamina potion is 75%, and the large stamina potion is 90%, all following the exact same stack sizes as their health counterparts. Energy potions give you signature energy over 30 seconds. All of the energy potions have the exact same strength and stack sizes as the stamina potions. So if we drink the strongest potion, which takes a while, you will see in the bottom right that the signature energy is going up in bursts. All normal and large potions have updated models, and the iridescent potion, which is a decoration item, has also updated textures. Fishing traps can now be placed closer together and in shallower water. You can also see the preview of where you're going to place the trap. Bows can no longer be drawn if you have no ammo. These pink crystals, which can be found in the world, will now drop pink crystal shards. pickaxe, hatchet, and shovel will now consume durability if used on wood. I might be here a while. Finally. All sickles can be swung repeatedly just by holding down the input button. The preview for the iron repair kit, the crude bedroll, and the crude repair kit have been updated. We've got a couple of changes to the watering can. Firstly, the capacity is now 50, up from 20. Watering is now exclusively to your secondary action key, which should be right click. And by holding down right click, you can now water a 3x3 area in front of you. The final change is if you hold crouch and right click, you can place the watering can. Keep in mind, if you break it and pick it up, you will lose all water in the can. The visual effect for sword impacts have been updated. This is also true for the Harvest Trophy. Seaweed middle is now referred to as stacked seaweed. All of the red cobble blocks are now referred to as red sandstone cobble blocks. The same is true for the white cobble blocks, which now also include sandstone in its name. We have so many blocks to go through. Starting off, we have slabs and stairs for all of the cloth colours. We've got a lot of new blocks for the cooled magma block set. Here's a couple new additions to the chalk block set. About 10 blocks have been added to the slate brick block set. We've got a few new blocks to add to the limestone block set, as well as updated textures. On the left, we've got the dead block coral set, which is currently creative only, and on the right, we've got the dying state of those blocks. Here's every slab in the game currently, the new ones being naturally occurring rock types, and here is every beam in the game, with the new ones being once again the naturally occurring rock types. Coloured clay textures have been updated, new stairs have been added for all naturally occurring rock types, so here's all of them. They all function as you expect them to, as shown here. As I don't fully understand this patch note, I will just read it out word for word. Performed a consistency pass on dirt and grass block sets, adding full grass blocks, which is all the ones you see in front of you, stairs and half slabs for all existing dirt types, plus new wet and lush grass types. There's the lush, and the wet is there. The issue is there's no grass or stairs for this block type yet. If you're a creative player and enjoy building, oh boy do we have some blocks for you. We now have some neon lights and signs, some wall posters and an arcade machine. Also apparently they added windows, except I couldn't find them in the creative menu, maybe it hasn't been added yet. Here is the iron block set, the gold, which I don't think is creative but I thought I'd showcase it off next to everything else, the copper set, the very blue zinc set, and finally the bronze set. All fences now have T-junction and 4-way junction support. Hide and leather tent roofs now have the steep and shallow variations. That's the shallow and that's the steep. We've got some more creative only blocks. These are the modern cloth roof blocks. But if you're still looking for some cloth blocks, here are all of the ones that you can get in survival. Supposedly, the yellow, green, white and dark blue cloth sets are the new ones. It's also worth noting, but not so easy for me to show you, all roof blocks should now work properly and connect more dynamically. Basically, they are easier to build with. You know what? Have some more creative only blocks. These are the build sets of different colours. We've also now got the red and the orange flag for the creative mode to help you with your builds. And sure, why not? Have some moving boxes. You'll have to forgive me for this, but all I was told is there is now some seasonal decorations only accessible via the creative menu. These are all of the ones I can find. Plus a broom, which you can use as a melee weapon. I have probably missed a lot of seasonal blocks here, and if you know what they are called, feel free to leave a comment down below and I will get them in the next video. Thank you! Saplings have been updated massively. First of all, we have 3 new saplings. We got the apple, camp whore, and the spiral sapling, and the frostwood sapling has been fully redesigned. Here's every sapling at stage 0 growth. So I was going to show off every single tree at every single stage, but there's too many trees, and each tree has different amount of stages, sometimes they take different amounts of time to age, and I'm already way behind on uploading this video. Stormbark trees specifically have had their roots removed. They now only go 1 block into the dirt and they do not spread like other trees. The fire, frostwood and bamboo trees now all have branches and roots, and their trunks can now be crafted into half slabs and stairs. I can't lie, this patch note confuses me. It says seed bag textures and icons have been updated for all saplings. Here are all the icons for the saplings, but that's not a seed bag, it's a sapling. These are the seed bags. Within the creative inventory, you now have different subcategories, such as wood, metal, cloth, and technical. I don't know which tab it would have been under, but the structural subcategory has been removed. Additionally, several blocks have been moved into these categories that make sense to be there. Effectively, the naming scheme across the entire game has been standardized. For example, you will have the name of the item, such as the aqua brick roof, and if you want any of the variations, it will now be followed by a hyphen, and then the variation itself, such as flat, shallow, or steep. This applies for half slabs, stairs, roofs, metal blocks, beams, bricks, and sandstone types. The smaller of the two campfire blocks is now actually called small campfire. All of these wooden walls have been renamed to indicate their colour. These summer grass blocks are now called sunny grass. You will now have an icon in the top left of your world if it has mods. The mod management UI has been updated and moved to its own section within the world settings screen. You can now view the mod version, icons, and other details. A warning is displayed when a mod targets a different game version. Quick setting creative mode menu has now been reorganized, removing redundant settings or allowing for quicker navigation. In the creative menu quick settings, which is located on the right, if you scroll down, you can now change the time of day and weather for the client only. They have fixed and updated many of the creative tools. Even they say there are too many to list, and some are quite technical. So the first page contains all of the tools that are commonly used, or a good foundation to start using the creative tools. The second tab has more tools that are used for specific circumstances. The third page is just brush filters. The fourth page contains tools and blocks related to prefab editing. And finally, the fifth page is to do with the machinima. Currently only 2 items in here. The last page is for the block sets that I showed off earlier. The newest creative tool that we have is under the second tab. It's called the Resolve tool. It will allow you to pace your rotations of your current selection any number of times or fully around a center point. I'm not even going to begin to show you how to use this because I am not a creative user. Performance in the Oasis biome has now been improved. The Oasis biome being the Zone 2 desert with water. Also, if you happen to have found a portal within the Oasis biome, it should now place you down correctly. The lumberjack lamp can now be placed in any direction. I cannot tell you how much this was annoying me in my survival world. Finally, it's been fixed. All pillar blocks can now be placed sideways. All 3 of the chandeliers can now hang from many more block types. Not all block types, as for example it does not attach to leaves or these twigs. Windows and cloth roof blocks no longer require any other support, they can just freely float in the air. I already showcased off the wooden walls earlier, but coloured clay now also has a more polished texture to it. Well, unfortunately I can't show off this feature. I've been flying around in Zone 1 Plains biome for what feels like forever, but supposedly fireflies should have an increased spawn rate. Well, not for me. Decorative chains and all brick beams can now support more decorative blocks hanging from them. For example, a chandelier. All of the seeds within the alchemy workbench needs crystallized dirt in order to grow. The last 3 seed bags also have special conditions, such as a 2-block high wall, near a gold block, and near water. Here's them planted. Once these plants have fully matured, they will look like this. Blue winter seaweed, which I think is found in the ocean around Zone 3, now produces air bubbles. Or if that was already a feature, it also says it's also been modified, so it's been added as well as been modified. I don't know what that one's trying to tell me. If you right click on your world, you'll now see that there is a backups tab. This interface will attempt to recover your broken worlds. You can also adjust any of these numbers. Moose have been slowed down by 20%. You should now be able to catch up to them. Goats and the baby version, the goat kids, will now have updated animations. I'm sorry, little one. After killing a mob, the loot that spawns from them will drop out from their body after the body disappears, sort of like a little loot explosion. Wolves should have smarter AI when working together. They will now attempt to flank you. There we go. They spread out just a little bit. And if you injure one too much, it will attempt to retreat. Yeah, see how that one's going behind me? These little squirrel can now lay eggs. All crystal golems will now drop their respective gem when killed. We've got the earth golem dropping emeralds, ruby for the flame, sapphires for the frost, zephyrs for the sand golem, and topaz for the thunder golem. Once again, elemental golems now have their animations and interactions updated. You can now have multiple instances of Hytale open at any single time. For example, I'm playing on this world. If I open up the other instance, I can see the other worlds. Because I've already got this world open, it will give me a warning telling me that it may corrupt the saved data, so it is advised not to open the same world multiple times. If you hold your drop key, you can now drag over any item in your inventory to automatically drop it on the floor in front of you. However, in creative it is supposed to destroy the object, although as you can see that is currently not working, or maybe I'm doing something wrong, I don't know. You will now have a little number next to your backpack icon to show you how many slots are currently being used up. When hovering over any doors, fences and trapdoors, you will now see the button to open it, as a little hint. This also applies to any gatherable in the game. It will now tell you which button you can use to pick it up. Even if you happen to go an extremely long distance away, all of your map markers will stay, if you have a look at the top of the screen, on your compass. The player will now animate differently when falling from an extreme height. As much as I try, you can no longer eat wheat. Kebabs and skewers will now be held in the hand properly. While in creative mode, as you can see I've got no ammo for this bow. I can still use it however. Redwood is now considered as softwood instead of hardwood. If for any reason that a portal fails to create when using the ancient gateway, in this case, for some reason it didn't, although I have encountered it on my own world, you will now get a full refund of the fragment that you used. If you happen to have a hoe and a shield equipped at the same time, the interaction will now prioritize hoeing the ground. Even if you look up, you cannot use the shield whilst the hoe is equipped. Trees, and I'm assuming other similar blocks such as foliage and vegetation, should no longer override structures within Zone 4. The buildings now take priority, making them look less rundown overall. Finally, the burnt Praetorian skeleton will no longer fly off into the stratosphere when charging its attack. It should now just stay on the ground and attack you normally. Yep, I know I'm already over 2 weeks late to this, but I hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe the next update isn't as big, so it takes a lot less time for me to actually get through all of the patch notes. Okay, love you, bye!